What's up, ladies and gentlemen? So this is the first type of video that I would be doing about a top 10 list, and I felt like, it would be okay for me to give my thoughts on some of these monsters, because I'm sure many of you guys have questions about which types of monsters I view as the best and which type I view as the worst. So we're going to take a look at the top 10 worst natural 5-star monsters that I think are currently in the game. So, at our number 10 spot, we've got Raul, the Dark Beast Monk. So, with brothers of different attributes that are all considered strong, with Kumar, Ritesh, and even Chandra, he's got, a bit of a competition to stand up to, but you'd think the Dark counterpart would be equally as strong. However, Raul is paired with the worst skills of all of the Beast Monks. So, bringing not only the Hug ability, which is considered fairly weak, but also a third skill that does practically nothing. So his third ability applies harmful effects, which block the enemy from gaining beneficial effects. However, he does not remove the effects first, which makes him practically useless against immunity teams. His first skill is also connected with the weakest ability of the Beast Monks, where he absorbs a certain amount of the damage as HP. So just to put this into perspective, the other Beast Monks all have strong first skills where they can apply Provoke, Stun, Defense Break, or even continuous damage. At the number 9 spot, we have Grogan, the Dark Dragon. So many people have already viewed him as a fairly bad monster. However, they don't realize that he's actually pretty far up the list. While his skill sets read well, they just do not provide much in terms of usability. Both his second ability and his third ability have low damage multipliers, and his second ability, when fully skilled, only comes out to about a 54% chance to land one stun on the single unit. With low damage, a bad leader skill, and a third skill that's not really going to help much on Despair, it's kind of hard to find a application for him. So that is why he falls short for what an AoE monster should have. At the number 8 spot, we have Laura, the Light Occult Girl, who is arguably one of the best looking monsters in the game when it comes to textures, including transmogrification. But she falls incredibly short on skill set. With 2 AoE abilities, you would expect to build her for PvP content. However, her damage multipliers are lowered since her third skill scales off of HP. This limits her usability to an enormous extent and makes her nearly useless. If you were to consider building her as a CC unit, keep in mind her second and third skills don't land their debuff with a 100% chance, unlike other natural 4 stars such as Briand that can land the AoE attack break with a 100% chance. The one bright side of Laura is that she has the incredible first skill of the Occult Girls, which allows her to violent proc a ton, as well as putting the enemy to sleep. At the number 7 spot, we have Shiho, the Water Monkey King, who is considered the worst by many lower level players. What makes Shiho bad isn't the fact that he has low damage, nor is it that he has bad skill sets, but rather that his entire kit together makes absolutely no sense. With an ability to do high damage on his third skill, as well as self-buff immunity and invincibility, you would think he would be used more often, since he has some sort of invincibility to keep him alive longer, as well as damage. However, his high cooldown rate and awful second skill makes him a trouble to keep alive. There are also much better options out there that are a lot easier to obtain, such as Theomars, which just lowers his overall value. This is the only unit on our list currently that has been considered terrible since the start of the game, even after receiving multiple buffs. At number 6, we have Beth, the Water Hell Lady. Similar to how the Water Monkey King works, Beth brings very little to the fight. The damage multipliers are low, and since she is paired with skill sets that require quite a bit of setup, you'll find yourself struggling to get that one turn of damage off, as well as keeping her alive. Since she operates in a very similar fashion to Shiho, they are pretty close together in poor usability. She also does bring very little survivability at all, actually pretty much no survivability. The one positive thing that I can actually say about Beth is that she has a very good leader skill, which gives her quite a bit of uniqueness. At number 5, we have Brandy, the Fire Polar Queen. Since she does high damage with a bit of setup, many players look past her skills and fail to see the bigger picture. With a high cooldown single target ability and rather lackluster second ability, she doesn't really bring much to any fight. However, the reason she is not higher up on this list is due to her leader skill. With a 44% HP leader skill for Arena, this helps incredibly for the current stall meta, which is complete shit, as I might add. And with this ability, a lot of players use her HP leader skill to boost the rest of the HP on the entire team. But to put that into account, they build her with a more tank build since they don't really like her entire skill set, which is practically built for damage. So this is the only place she currently has in the game where she has any usability, and once the stall meta goes away, she's going to go back to being completely useless. At number 4, we have Recon, the Fire Chimera. Now, while many would agree he is not the most ideal natural 5-star, they tend to not view him as one of the worst. However, with the way the game is headed, HP-based single target damage, like Arnold, is a thing of the past. So while he's not able to bring incredible damage, he's also difficult to set up for consistent damage. His first ability scales off of attack power, and his third ability scales off of max HP. Now they did buff him a little bit back, where he reduces the attack bar by 50% and decreases the attack speed. However, this doesn't fix the problem with Recon, which is that he is a bruiser. Many actually view Recon as a better Arnold. So even with this, it's hard to set up for consistent damage, and with his most recent buff, it doesn't fix the problems that he currently has with him. So that is why he is so low on the list. At the number 3 spot, we have Deafness, the Fire Fairy King. While initially his skill sets looked decent, after some quick testing, it was discovered that his third skill is quite broken, dealing significantly less damage than stated in the ability, as well as having low damage on his second skill, and his second skill is an AoE. So having pretty low damage on his third skill and low damage on his second skill, he practically brings nothing to the fight. What makes it even worse about Deafness is the fact that he not only has poor damage on his third and second ability, but when you use his third ability, it also takes away a third of his own HP. Talk about a pointless unit. So at the number 2 spot, we have Lydia, the Dark Polar Queen. So similar to how Brandy works, Lydia brings a high damage single target third skill and an AoE second skill. So what makes Lydia worse than Brandy and even less usable is that she now brings even less damage with her third skill and her second skill that does not synergize well with her entire set. Not to mention her leader skill kind of sucks, so you can't really use her for that leader skill, which means she has no place in the game. But she is a trophy monster, and she's something that looks pretty, but you should probably never take her out to use seriously. And at the number 1 spot for the worst natural 5-star in the game goes to Julian, the Light Vampire. So looking previously at all of the other horrible natural 5-stars on this list, they all have somewhat of a bit of use, whether it being Guild War or even World Boss or Dungeons or stuff like that. However, Julian has no place in the game. He is virtually useless, unusable, horrible in World Boss and every other portion of the game. So his first ability and second abilities are similar to Vertihill, and you guys would realize that these are abilities that do not do well outside of Vertihill. His second ability does practically nothing. His first skill is just hitting 2 times, low multipliers, and he brings a passive ability that is useless. So while he brings no debuffs and brings a passive ability that is absolutely pointless, since it only prevents him from dying from non-critical hits, crushing hits, and other stuff like that, then the majority of players run damage units that hit critical hits or even land buffs or bombs or continuous damage. He will never be able to use his passive ability. And the only thing that could really come out of this passive ability is the fact that you can land glancing hit. So there is a 30% increased chance of landing glancing hit. However, a natural 4-star Light and Dark outskills him as Molly, since her is an AoE ability. So Julian definitely takes a cake for the worst natural 5-star in the game, and as previously stated, he is a horrible choice for dungeon, which makes his leader skill even worse. That's a bigger slap in the face because they throw on a dungeon leader skill for a unit that has absolutely no intentions of being used in dungeons. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. This is my personal list for the top natural 5 stars. I'm sure there are a lot of monsters that currently need buffs or, just kind of skill revamps. Because if a natural 4-star or natural 3-star can outdo them for what they do, then they're really, really underrated. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys think a unit is usable and they're on this list, let me know. But keep in mind, any type of natural 5-star will be usable to an early game player. So if you are an early game player, please be careful with your opinions because they might be quite different for when you progress through the game. So I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. I will be doing some PvP soon since I'm also getting involved in PvP quite a bit. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys all later.